420, 420, for 20 long years. I smoked lots of reefer and drank lots of beer. Every day at 420, we're gonna settle the score. And for 20 long years, it's been 20 past 4. Hello, everybody. Welcome to 420 Live. Jeff Kravitz. Monday. Do you like Mondays? Do you not like Mondays? Does every day seem like the same day? Am I getting repetitive? Welcome to another adventure into the land of distraction. Yes, we come to you Monday to Friday, 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A lot of you might not be used to seeing me so early, yapping away, so full of energy and caffeine and ready to take on the day. Hope you had a relaxing weekend. LA is getting ready to shut down on Wednesday at 10 p.m. You can no longer eat outside. I don't know what that means, but I do know that it's just so it was so nice. I went out for sushi the other night and it was so nice. I hadn't been to that sushi bar in over a year and they were so glad to see me, and even with my mask on, and there were only 4 tables outside. And you know, when I left there, I was thinking about these businesses and how they're surviving and what they're going to do and what's happening, what's going to happen. And it's just like such a conundrum because you love going out so much and having these experiences with your friends, being able to sit around and eat. And I don't know how many people are getting sick outside dining. I don't know any of these numbers. I do know that this is all because of the lack of leadership. And that's why we find ourselves in this conundrum. It's been frustrating, folks. I'm dealing with my guest today. It's my first guest from the UK. So, of course, there's a little bit of problems. Dave Hogan's going to be my guest today, my friend, fellow photographer. I told him 10 minutes before, you got to do the check, and then you have to call me if there's a problem. And now he's like, it's frozen. So if Dave needs to call me, and I will deal with it live on the air so everybody can come and feel my pain and feel my hardship and how happy I'm going to be when it's when we're back to normal, folks, when this is all over and we can go back to enjoying ourselves in the way we're used to. And I know a lot of you have traveled this past week, and a million people a day are going to see their family, and everybody's saying, don't see your family. Don't go. Don't do it. And everybody's like, fuck it. We're going to go. Got to have that turkey. Personally, I think turkey's overrated. Otherwise, I did tweet about it. I got a lot of pushback. But if it was so great, it would be on every menu in every restaurant all over the world. You would see turkey, the turkey dinner. There'd be restaurants called Thanksgiving, and every day you could go there and recreate Thanksgiving. But did anybody do that? No. And you know why? Because turkey sucks. I'm sorry. And I know I'm probably going to get a lot of pushback on this as people travel and everybody's getting ready to cook their turkeys. But trust me, from one turkey to another, you know, otherwise I would see the marketability of it and I'd see it everywhere. It'd be like, there'd be a McDonald's of Thanksgiving dinner. It'd be called McTurkeys. I feel like a turkey talking about turkey. Hoagie, how you doing there, buddy? I know the technology's hard, especially I get my friends to come on that are my age. Hoagie's a little bit older. He just turned 60 a couple weeks ago. So, you know, you're like, hey, try this technology out. It'll be great. And then you're like, okay, where's it going? Oh, Hoagie, I see it worked. I'm going to introduce you right now. We're going to get to it, but I would give yourself a little headroom there and maybe back up. Yeah, like that, and center up, and you're looking good. I would find somewhere to put that iPad so you're not holding it. Are you holding the iPad? All right. This is fun, isn't it, folks? You know, I appreciate everybody's patience. You guys have been amazing for the past 8 months. I've been coming to you live. Your live jive turkey coming at you. You should be eating alligator down there. I think alligator is a hell of a lot more tastier than turkey. Maybe we'll have some fried alligator, Kelly, you know, for our Thanksgiving holiday. You're cutting off the top of your head, Hoagie. So, yeah, you want to see your brains. I know I can't hear you yet, but here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I've traveled all over the world doing my job. And, normally around this time, I would just be getting back from a trip to Europe, where we would spend a couple days shooting the European MTV Awards, which happened. I don't know if anybody saw you, but it was like a kind of a wet fart, just kind of went by, like all these award shows, the American Music Awards, all of them. If you saw the American Music Awards, good for you. But I know that their ratings can't be anywhere near where they were, because nobody cares anymore. Celebrity culture, we are watching, and people like Kravitz, you don't stop with this death of celebrity culture. But this is my job. This is my career. I'm watching go down the tubes. But I would be hanging out, and over the years, part of our Wire Image team back in the day was Dave Hogan. He had the UK beat. He was working for the local papers there, and he was everywhere all over town taking photographs of all your favorites. He'd be and hobnog. You got to realize the English rock and roll scene. I mean, this is the legends, the Bowies, the Freddie Mercurys, the Sex Pistols. Oh, Johnny Rotten got bit on the nuts by a flea. I mean, all this stuff is happening right now. That's news today. Anyway, my good friend, Dave Hogan, welcome him. My first guest from the UK. The beautiful thing about our new time zone is that it's 9:30 there. So let's welcome Dave. I think he figured it out.
I think I have. Good evening,
Hi, Hogan.
everybody. Is that better? Can you see me?
I can see you. I can hear you. I see your whole face. You're looking good.
Right. Well, I'm trying to be healthy, but the one good thing about actually in lockdown is we're not going to these after parties, eating at 11 o'clock at night anymore. So I've actually started eating healthily, doing a bit of yoga.
Yeah, I could kind of see your chin, Dave.
I know. I've lost 6 chins. It's quite interesting.
How much have you dropped?
I've dropped 2 stone.
Which is 30 pounds? 40?
Yeah, 30 pounds or something like that. Yeah. So, and I feel really quite good. I'm missing taking pictures. I mean, this was going to be a great year. We had our Glastonbury 50th. And I'd been asked by Taylor Swift's people if I wanted to do some work. And, I was like, just the whole summer was fully booked. And I haven't taken a decent picture since March. So, I've been going and looking back through the archives, trying to actually work out what to do. And, we've got to rethink our lives.
I agree. I mean, do you see it? How's England handling it right now? I know you guys are going back into lockdown.
Well, we've just had a big press conference with our Prime Minister now, and he's, we seem to have got another vaccine. So there's 3 vaccines on the go, and we've seemed to be in front of the queue for getting the vaccine. And I'm like, okay, well, it's still not going to happen much before Easter. That's what they're saying, Easter. And I think people are just going to be cautious. I cannot imagine having the level of events that we've had every week. We'd have 2 or 3 good premieres, and then there'd be concerts at the big O2, the concert arenas, and then all the festivals. I don't think I've ever spent so much time at home in 8 months of my life.
Well, you're not alone. We're all in the same boat. We've all been at home. I mean, my camera's gotten picking up. I picked it up 2 or 3 times the entire time, and there's just not a lot going on. I mean, I worked one job. I did the MTV Awards. And all these shows now have one photographer.
Yeah.
And it's a red carpet for one. And I think one guy takes a picture. And if you think about it, you're really seeing how all this has been superfluous, and kind of for the show, having all those photographers on the red carpet was kind of like creating the energy to make excitement for these events that we worked. We were window dressing to a certain extent.
Yeah, I've said this every year. I mean, I used to go to the Cannes Film Festival. And, you and I, we have VIP access at the events in our own countries. But when you go to France, I'm 3rd row on a stepladder. And I used to go there to realize how lucky I was with all my clients in England, that I would be front row in the carpet, because you can talk and you relate, but you also make things happen. Where, the French Film Festival, it's just, they don't care where you come from. You're just an accessory to, make their thing look much more glamorous on the red carpet. And as much as, we're trying hard with we did the British Film Festival, and there were 6 of us that we were socially distancing, and then we had various actors come along, but they couldn't stand next to each other. Because everybody's going, oh, that's not social distancing. Well, you try and get 6 people in a newspaper or in a magazine that actually works as a picture. It's, we make things happen, and we can't make anything happen now because you just imagine the insurance people going, oh, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't,
I think the hardest part is that they knocked out all the genuine moments.
Yeah.
So all those candid things, all those moments backstage that we would get in the hallways, and all these people fraternizing with each other, we're not going to see that again for a while. And even with the release of the virus, I think we're with the vaccine.
Yeah, I mean, you just sort of think, well, can we put you and you together, the big stars, and they're probably the publicists would go, oh, I'm sorry, but they're not allowed to stand next to them because we haven't got a COVID test for that person or this person. And you just sort of think, okay, well, we've got to make do. It's not about us; it's about the whole world and the industry trying to actually make it happen. And I think it's going to be a long time before. I mean, I posted a picture the other day, which I'd taken at Wembley, and there must have been like 10,000 pictures all looking at me from one side of the stadium. And you're thinking, is that ever going to happen again, even when we've got COVID restrictions lifted?
Well, no, it is happening already again now in like Australia and in New Zealand and in Taiwan, where they have a handle on the disease. But they got the numbers down to zero. And I think that we're such a mess.
Yeah. Well, don't take it personally, because we're not doing that well either. I think we're sitting there, and we want strong leaders that are going to do this, that, and the other. But they're all sort of they're running around like headless chickens, and we're reacting sometimes. Where you listen to the other countries. One of my friends works in Australia, and he got in, and the moment he went in, he was put into a hotel. You're in a 4-star hotel, but you go outside, you're fined. You get deported, and you're like, that's what you need, that sort of strength of commitment, because it's serious.
Yeah, well, right now in America, everybody's traveled all over the place, millions of people to go be with their family for the weekend for maybe their last supper.
Yeah,
but let's talk a little bit about your work. I got a bunch of your photos lined up in no particular order.
Okay.
You started as a photographer. Was it The Sun?
Yeah, I worked for the national newspaper in England, which was the biggest tabloid. And do you know what? If I put forward an idea and I wanted to go somewhere, they sent me. And I used to get flown all around the world. I'm very proud of my 5 passports that were paid for by a newspaper to send me there, sometimes for 5 minutes. I think this is a picture of Beastie Boys. One of the
Run DMC.
Oh my God! Sorry.
I know you just had eye surgery, so I'll help you.
But like everything I did was, I'd go around the world for 5 minutes, and whoever was flavor of the month, I would normally get access to them, and we'd go off and do a festival in San Remo or anywhere in Europe. I would just get on a plane, go do some pictures, get on a plane and fly home. It was so cool.
Yeah, and you knew everybody, and everybody knew you and liked working with you, and that's the way you had amazing access. You've done a ton of portraits. So how long did you have with these guys? Like 30 seconds?
30 seconds. Yeah, I mean, like it's in those days. When you shot film, you used to shoot black and white film, and then you pick up a second camera, shoot a bit of color. But the black and white, which is to me, I just love the way that you can now work with your old negatives and do different filters and
Here's an example of what you're talking about. So this is a new approach you're taking to your work.
This is a new approach. I've been working with some street artists in Brighton called The Postman, and I'm loving it because all these pictures, this is like Prince. I remember I got a tip-off from his sort of PR company, and I went down to Gatwick, which is one of the small airports. It's not Heathrow, it's Gatwick. All the, it's like the tourists come in from, and I get a call. I go down there, I meet him off the plane, and it's just me there, and I'm chatting with him, and I think he's a bit unsure. Like, who are you again? Oh yeah, so and so sent me. Welcome to London. How long are you in town for? So I'm walking along with him, and we're in the elevator, and of course I'm towering over him, which obviously doesn't really work with Prince because he wasn't that small. But I think I just use my normal sort of like, hey, you may be famous, but I'm not impressed. I've got a job to do. Let's be nice, have a chat, tell me how long you're in town for, and I'll see you on the next one. And that was always my approach. And I used to get lots of people that would call me up and say, yeah, he's coming in town. Can you go and do this? So, we we spent some time in the elevator, did me pictures, and then I saw him a week later, and it was so easy. Now you can imagine the hassle of having to go through airport security for this, that, the other. I think just kill them with kindness is always my motto. And it's
well, you can't get into the airport to meet the planes now. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. You can't go anywhere. I mean,
so explain. So you're doing a collaboration with another artist called the Postman for this?
Yeah. So basically they're going, we're picking out various pictures of my 80s collection, and then they graffiti and do these great street arts. And I just love the colors that they come up with and the ideas. And then these have been put up around Brighton on the seafront, and we're doing some prints. Hey, we got to earn some revenue somehow. So it's great to reinvent your back catalog and make something that's fun. I'm loving it. They did one with David Bowie. They did it.
I have a couple interspersed here.
So this is Michael Jackson. The first time I ever met him. It's in 1983. He's backstage. He's accepted an award on behalf of Barbra Streisand, and he was with Paul and Linda McCartney. And they went off to do the press, and just Michael was on the corner of the room on his own. And I just went up and started talking to him. I just don't think anybody had really ever just treated him normal. So I'm like, oh, how long are you in town for? What are you doing? How long, And he obviously just was really quiet, didn't say anything. And then after about 10 minutes, he realized I wasn't going anywhere. And I wasn't a besotted fan. I was just trying to do my usual, show some interest. And then he came over and he said, would you take pictures of me with my friends? I said, yeah, who do you want? I'll go and introduce it. So I took him around the room and I introduced him to all the different stars. Oh, this is Michael, did the pictures. And then the following day, I dropped some pictures off his hotel. And then I would get a regular call from Jonathan Morris, who was his sort of publicity person, saying, Michael's in town. Do you want to go shopping with him? Do you want to go to this? Do you want to go to Hamley's toy store? And I mean, literally, I lived in a world that I didn't even... and
you can't put it back in the bottle. The genie's out.
No, absolutely. You just anyway. But I mean, just look how beautiful he is there. Like no plastic surgeons got anywhere near him. Like there's a lot of people obviously made a lot of money and messed up his face and that. And I just think sometimes you go, look how gorgeous that guy was. I mean, he was just so cool, but. You hear about people that have self-body image and that, sometimes just leave things alone.
Yeah, well, I think it's hard as people become more famous and they start seeing more pictures of themselves out there, and they're like, oh, I wish I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Like I always see my nose, and I'm like, I wish I had Michael Jackson's nose.
Yeah. What movable? So this is one of the artworks we've done. This is backstage with Paul McCartney and
David Bowie.
No, Paul McCartney is standing next, but
I think I have the 2-shot coming up.
Oh right, so we cut whatever, but he's the coolest guy I've ever worked with, right? And there's certain protocol when you actually get to work with these stars. You're not there as their new best friend, so don't start going sitting next to them and think they want to hear your life story. They don't. You're part of the crew. You do what you're doing. So I got a call to go and work with him in Canada. He was doing a tour, and I get a call. Do you want to go over and do this? And I said, yeah, I'll go and do it. So they flew me over, and we were on a train, and I would be sitting in his compartment, but not next to him. And he would come and sit next to me because he knew everybody else. He wanted to talk and know what was going on, what were the culture things. And we had this magazine called Viz magazine, and I was reading it, and that's all he wanted. He wanted to read the magazine because that was the coolest product. He was so far advanced of his time, when you think of how he digitalized his back catalog and did all these things. So to be in that room with him, and I used to do meet and greets and take control. So you'd go in and you'd have the vice president of one drinks company, a vice president, and I would just go in beforehand, say, right, okay, who's the important one here? I'm doing the picture. You stand that side. And you would just take control for 5 minutes. And that's what he wanted. That's how they liked it. And everybody went home thinking, yeah, I've just had dinner with David Bowie. Well, actually, no, you've met him and you've had a picture taken. And the most normal person. He didn't want people around him treating him, sort of as a. He could deal with it, but then after about 10 minutes, he just wanted to go back to his group of people he was safe with. And yeah, I loved it. Whenever I got a call from his people, I would get on a plane and go anywhere.
You're like, Bowie called.
Yeah.
Here you go. Billy Idol.
Billy Idol. How cool is he? I mean, and I hope he likes this, because I'm sort of reinventing him and giving him some, it's sort of just brought the 80s back relevant to 2020. These two artists that I'm working with, and I'm just really, really proud to reinvent myself with my catalog and have somebody that's so relevant nowadays to actually work in it. So
are you doing like numbered signed editions of this, or how?
We're talks. Actually somebody's come up in LA already, said, can we do something with you out there? And I'm like, yeah, let's talk. And I think this is the thing. Now we've got the time to discuss. Sort of just looking at different ways. I did my degree in ceramics, so I can make a very good ashtray. But actually, this is what I love doing: is taking photography to the next level, and I'm having fun.
Yeah,
it's so cool. And I've got probably 500,000 images. There's even more under my bed and in filing cabinets. So I've been spending a bit of time going and scanning, just trying to get. So I found some negs. Black and white negatives that I've never even taken out of the envelope, and it's the Rolling Stones at Wembley 1982 with Mick and Keith, and you look at them and you think how old they are now and how young they were in the 80s. I mean, it's great to just undiscover or discover gems that have been stuck in the filing cabinet or whatever. Because I don't know about you, but my organization of in the old days, you just shoved it in a drawer, and then you went off to the next job and the next job, and never really had time to actually sort it all out. So I'm trying to do my best now.
I love it. Let's see what else we got. Oh, there. Speaking of the Stones, now when did you start working with the Stones? What was your first call to go meet the Stones?
Well, newspaper wise, I worked, back in the 80s. I was just photographing, the Stones on tour. But it's been in the last probably 5-6 years where I get the favorite call, and it's a different way of working, because do you know what? If you're in a room with the Stones, you don't go up and start talking to the Mick about the weather or the cricket. He's not interested, but he just needs to know that you can take control and get it done quickly. And I love the fact that, I'll go there and we'll have a brief, and it will be on the schedule for the day. It'll be, or they all have their initials, and it says, underneath, Dave to take picture. And it's like, Dave to take picture, and it will be done within 5 minutes, and normally 5 minutes means you've finished in 2 minutes. But you go ahead, you set the room up, you light it, they walk in, they walk, and there will be like crosses on the floor where they're going to do the pictures. So they just walk in, go, right, I'm standing here, I'm standing there, you do the pictures, and they're out of there, and they feel comfortable, I feel comfortable. I mean, they're the coolest band to work with. You just think, how old are you now? You don't say those things, but you feel like it. But you're in the presence of the best rock and roll band in the world,
right? And then once you get the shot, you've got it. I mean, it's not like you just want all four eyes open and with a reasonable look on their face.
Absolutely. There's no magic. We're not looking for the mean and moody. We just want what they want and you want. And you know what? I've done probably 4 of the last photo sessions, that they've done. And that is 4 of the last standing before my lights for 2 minutes. So they did this great exhibition in London. I took all my lights down there. I lit it so it was like Blackpool illuminations, really flattering light. And they liked it. It got used for their selling out their exhibition poster. I went to Cuba with them. That was the coolest gig because they were so excited.
Right.
Because they've done everything in the world, but they never played somewhere like Cuba. And there's 500,000 people having a free concert. Well, there's nothing free. Some very rich person paid for everything for them to do it. They shipped everything from all around the world to be there because they didn't have the infrastructure. And when the 4 guys walked out on the stage, I've never seen people smile so much because they were having such a fantastic day. It's like, they and then they had the private jet getting getting back to Miami, Mick stayed. I stayed in Mick's hotel after we went because I had a Stones. I don't think I've ever been treated like royalty. They weren't even in the country, and I was sort of living around the swimming pool thinking, "Hi, were you with the Stones?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, they're gone." But sometimes you can bask in other people's glory. But
well, like of course, you're so close to the proximity.
Yeah.
Wow, old picture of Stevie Wonder.
Well, that's it. I mean, he'd come over and came to London, and you spend the day with him, do the pictures, and I remember he did the interview walking to the stage, and I'm like going, gosh, well, how? But of course, one of the things that he did do, he came over and he never changed his clock, so his body time stayed on his LA time. And whatever time it was he was doing the concert, he'd do it, and then he'd stay up, and he would be up till 4 or 5 in the morning. And I remember doing some other pictures like backstage, and I was like, I'm really getting a bit tired now, but he was like wide awake. Yeah, well, it's LA time for him, so he could do it. But such a cool guy. I mean, he was at the Party in the Park, which is a big series of concerts we had in London. It's like a festival in the park. And the last time I saw him, he's made an announcement saying I'm going to have a throat op. So I hope his operation's gone well. We look forward to seeing him. But there's a lot of these.
It's funny, Hogan. I'm going to take the pictures off for a second just so we can chat about this. But a lot of these guys like the Stones and Stevie Wonder and the Who, I mean, we might never see them up on stage again.
Absolutely. When you think of some of the younger artists that have passed away, who'd have thought that George Michael, Prince, David Bowie would have gone before? It's sad to say, but
Tom
Keith
Petty
Richards is a living legend.
Yes.
They're going to outlast everybody. They're just so good. So you sort of think, well, are they going to risk it? They do their thing right. They go off and do these things, and we've got to wrap them all up in cotton wool, because just to see them, we don't want to see them and that will be their last gig. We want them around a lot longer.
Right. And I think that's going to be the problem with traveling, and who knows when we're going to get back to those big old tours of those size. I think the first shows we're going to get back are intimate performances, where there's not a lot of people.
There's not a lot of people. We've got a couple of things where the TV show's doing it. I see there's various different credit card companies doing online things, but it's not quite the same as experience of being standing in a mosh pit with 5,000 people all just absolutely having a great experience.
Well, fortunately, places like Taiwan and Australia and New Zealand, where they've kept the numbers down, are going back to a life with full stadiums. I know in New Zealand they had 100,000 people out there for a soccer game a couple of weeks ago. Wow. So it's happening, and it's going to happen. And now everybody's all hot on the vaccine. But here's a crowd of pictures. Is this the Wembley shot?
This is Live Aid. So this was shot. Now this is what you can do now on your iPhone. We've all got the panoramic thing. In that day, there was a panoramic camera that sort of, it would take like 5 seconds to do the whole thing, but it shows the volume of the crowd. And I shot this, and I never actually exposed it for 25 years because there was no magazine or newspaper that could use it. So this is like part of my archive that's now on various collections, and the quality of the depth of field, you can actually zoom in and you can see all the faces in the crowd and everything like that. So I mean I love whatever technology is going. I don't always understand it, but I try whatever technology is going at the time and different things. But that was still one of the probably the best days. On that day, I had 13 different cameras. Right, so I had a panoramic camera. I had one camera for my 600, one for my 400. I had wide, super wides, black and white, and color. I mean, just to carry that many cameras now, you'd like digital. Our life is so much easier.
Of course, one camera,
one camera, and you don't even, I've got this, I've got my dongle, Wi-Fi dongle. I press 2 buttons and it goes to my remote editor, who's like 150 miles away. And I'm thinking, we've changed.
Well, thank God, because we're getting scooped by cell phones, which are even faster than what we can do.
Absolutely,
people are going to have stuff up on Instagram in a matter of seconds while your picture's being edited, and then that picture gets used all over the world. We've been getting scooped left and right by cell phones.
I know. I think we still just love the whole thing about it. I think one day we could quite easily just turn up and just do all our premieres on an iPhone and think, yeah, it's not the same.
Or just send our drone to go shoot for us, and then it comes back when you're done. Here, this guy got bit on the balls by a flea.
Yes, I was reading that. I mean, you just you don't want to be, and he's talking about his Vaseline rubbing up and down his legs, and it's something to do with these squirrels and that, and I'm thinking, what are you on about? But that's
if you let the squirrels run up and down your leg, they're going to go run up and get the nuts.
That's what you like. We like our pop stars to be bonkers, and that's the good thing.
Yeah, he lost me when he started supporting Trump, so
okay.
Watching Johnny Rotten wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat after what he stood for when
Absolutely.
He came on in the '80s. Does anybody else see the dichotomy in that?
Well, he did do a big commercial over here, which was for Utterly Butterly, and you're like going, what? He was dressed up as country gent, and you're thinking, you really got a big tax bill to pay this year if you're doing things like that.
Yeah, he probably still. It's hard to stay relevant as such a rebel as you get older, and then to watch him turn from a total anarchist to a fascist is just unbelievably stupid. Yeah, here's a great portrait of Keanu Reeves.
Well, I mean, it's amazing how many of the female, I mean, he came into town, and I just love sometimes, you've got to do your full length fashions, but just doing nice portraits. And this is where I like shooting. It looks like you've got a one-on-one, but there was obviously probably 6 photographers in the room with us. But you can do something different now. So, and that's the great thing about digital. You can experiment. Get low light. I mean, I was looking the other day. I've shot something like 3,000-4,000 events. Just when I was looking on the thing, it's so much easier with digital. I mean, you got to be in the right place at the right time. You can shoot a lot of crap, but doing stuff like this. So I would have gone into the room and I've shot a full length fashion with the co-star, but just spending a bit of time doing portraits is what I love doing, and then turn them into mean and moody black and whites. If I get a few likes, tell all your, please, I'm really down. I was looking how many Instagram followers you've got, and you've done such a cool job. I'm like, can I get a few more Instagram followers? I'll do whatever. I'm easily bored.
Believe me, I bought every single one of them too.
I haven't bought one of mine. So
I saw this picture, and I'm like, whoa, the two brothers happy and smiling together. I mean, this had to be the 5 minutes when they liked each other.
It was the funniest thing. They were doing a Teenage Cancer Trust gig in the Royal Albert Hall. So, and Roger Daltrey of The Who was organizing it. And then there was a few other sort of big cool stars there. And it was my job to do the big group photograph. And you play the game of psychology. So anyway, I'm doing Roger Daltrey with all the different groups, and I've got Noel and Liam other side of the room, sort of, when are you going to do us? And I'm like, oh, you wait your turn, sort of, and this is the power of a photographer. So I'm waiting, and then they're sort of like, are you going to do our picture or not? It's, yeah, I've got other people to do first, because I've got to do them. Anyway, so they eventually came in. I've done them either side. I've got Roger by the right-hand side of Noel. And then I've started doing some pictures. Said, okay, well, I'm not going to take your picture unless you smile, because this is for teenage cancer. We've got to promote some positivity. I don't want mean and moody. And Liam looked at me and he said, "You cheeky bugger." I said, "Yeah, but you're smiling." And that's the joke that you can have. I tell you one thing that he did to me. I was working with him in Japan once, and he came up to me, came right close to my face, and he looked at me and said, "Do you dye your hair badly?" And I've never dyed my hair since, because it was like the best put down that you could ever do. I'd started to get the slight orange glow of not quite doing my Just for Men right. I was like, you know what? Now's the time to cut and run.
That's so funny. Well, I didn't have enough hair to dye, so it was never an issue. Here we go.
So this is one of the funniest jobs. So in the old days, they'd have a festival in Rio called Rock in Rio. This was like mid-'80s or whatever. Now, everybody would have their riders. Well, Queen decided, okay, we're going to take a jumbo jet of journalists and photographers down there. And they put us up in a 5-star hotel. I think we were in the Sheraton for 12 nights. And this is the only time we saw them other on stage. It was like midnight, and we met them on Copacabana Beach. You think of how many beautiful backdrops we could have done it. But no, all we had to do was, there's no mobile phones. So all you had to do was turn up at the reception desk at 10 o'clock in the morning and say, do they want to do anything today? And they would, sorry, my battery's low. So do you want to do anything? Nah. So we'd spend the whole day by the pool, whole day waiting. And then, for 12 days, I think I did this picture and one other picture when they're on stage. And you're like going, could you imagine getting anybody to pay you to do that now? It's like the turnaround is like, I see how you and Kevin work. You shoot it, you go out, and you're back on the flight. It's like, we would just.
Oh, I would have taken 12 days on Queen's budget.
Yeah, we can do this. Now,
wow.
This is Boy George. This was the day that the newspaper had a story saying that he had 24 hours to live. He was a heroin addict. His brother had come forward and just said, look, I don't want any money. I just need some help. And anyway, we drove down to where he was, and I saw him. He was all really matted up, and he was really in a bad drugs situation. And at the time, I used to drive a bright red Porsche, not a really good car for surveillance. And George didn't even have a driving license, but was driving his mate's car, and said, if you don't, go away, I'm going to trash my car into your car. And I was like, look, he obviously needed help, but didn't quite want this. So anyway, I got out the car, I was talking to him, and he said, don't take a picture of me now. Come to my house in an hour. And of course, I said, okay, well, whatever. So we went to his house in an hour, and he got dressed up with this. But I don't know if you can see it, but it's got profanity. It does say F you, and I said, how am I going to get this into a family newspaper? And he just said, try. So I bended his arm, trying to get rid of the F. So it says, uck you. Men uck me. And I was like, only you could get away with this. And I got it front page in a national newspaper. It went around the world. But, the actual truth of it was, with to actually what it really said would never normally get in any paper. But it's amazing what you can do when you try.
Yeah, and nowadays nobody even cares.
Right, true. Right, Robbie Williams, this is Live 8. One of the things I love doing is giving back. I've had a really brilliant life. And one of the things I like doing is giving back. So I've worked with Bob Geldof on Live Aid, Band Aid, Band Aid 2, Live Aid, all these things. And I've always been given really special access because I give them my pictures. We then do a licensing deal so they get to use them. And, for that, everybody gives their time up. And, to be standing on the stage with Robbie Williams with a whole, that there's a lot of people out there. It's a pretty cool experience. I don't take it lightly. I dress in black. I look like a 6-foot ninja, hang by the camera, because you don't want to be the center of attention. You just want to be in a situation.
Oh, Hoagie, come on, everybody! It doesn't matter what color you are. You're 6'4". You were a lot bigger. You command a lot of space. It's not like because you wear black. And the same thing with me. It's not like you're like, oh, look, I wore black. Yeah, I still got a head this big that's floating out above the black. That's orange.
We try.
We do try. And this is the picture that you grabbed the solo off of Bowie off.
Yeah. So that's McCartney. And, that's McCartney. It's quite interesting because a lot of my stuff that I'm doing at the moment, work on in the 80s. There was nobody saying you couldn't. You just did it. And then, of course, nobody could get picture approval because you had to go off and process your film.
Right.
It's like, and it was instant. So,
and also you were working for the press, you're working for a paper, and papers don't really give people photo approval.
No, we never gave photo approval. They trust you because they pick a good one. It was like, well, do you know what? I'm gonna pick a good one because I want to be called back again. That's how it works.
Did you ever get a phone call the next day with like, how could you pick that? That's the worst picture ever.
Yep, and I'm not going to say who because.
Oh, come on. She's still alive?
Yeah, she's still alive.
It's got to be Madonna.
Well, Madonna ran me over, but because I never sued, I got to work some more stuff. Liz Rosenberg, legendary PR for her. She always used to laugh and joke, say, "Oh, Hoagie's great. We can run him over, and he still doesn't sue."
Oh my God, that's classic.
So this is traveling across Canada with David Bowie on the train, and he's reading a magazine which is like basically an adult kids magazine called Viz, which is a sort of magazine, and that's all he really wanted. He wanted to chat to me about that. He'd heard about it, so it's pretty cool.
Hanging out with Bowie.
Yeah, and Prince, and
this is Purple Rain era Prince right there.
And I forget what the big bodyguard's name was, but he was one of the first casualties of rock and roll, and then but how cool to just hang out with Prince and just walk along with him and do your bits. I love it.
And try not to step on him.
Try not to step on him or get in his way. But
yeah,
he's got this. So I love Coldplay. I did some stuff with Chris Martin, and he just turned up in my studio at 8:00 in the morning. I didn't even set up. He turned up an hour early. He said, "Do you want a hand?" And he put the studio up, and then we did the pictures. I was doing some other people later, but he turned up, did the pictures, and then just went off. And I've always thought he's super cool. I love his music. And he was telling me about this story where because I said, "Why didn't you ever pose with your wonderful lady?" Sort of thing. He said, "I'll never do it again." He posed on Primrose Hill with somebody's daughter. And the daughter was sitting in the middle. Chris was one side, Gwyneth was the other. And the guy had photoshopped his daughter out, moved them together, and it was a double page in Parry match. Oh. And he was so upset about it. And I said, well, not all photographers are like that. But unfortunately, some people do.
Yeah, well, everybody's trying to make a dime. Come on.
Yeah, Meatloaf. This is, I think that was shot in LA. Had gone out to do something with him, and he was, how cool are these guys?
Well, if he had his moment.
Yeah, he had his moment. Bad out of hell. So this
Put
is
a ring on it.
This is Beyonce at Glastonbury, and we've given her a nice. This was she was.
Is she on? This is on stage, right?
This is on stage. She was at Glastonbury. She was wearing the tightest costume, and she was not that happy that there was quite a lot of butt pictures of her. But I'm going, but you wore that, in front of a live TV agent where you could take videographs. I think one of the things was about 3 or 4 days later, she was announced that she was pregnant. And I was like, okay, well, she looks great. She's fantastic, and put a ring on it. That's what it's about.
He put a ring on it and didn't put a condom on it. And then they got a baby.
Oh, well. Look at this. This is King Freddie. Just he held the stage and just did it. And you wander around, he was like the King of England. Just brilliant. I love him. One of a kind. Stones. This is the Stones at the 100 Club. They look like some sort of gangsters, with their, but like the cigarette, the beer. But you're not allowed to do these things now. The amount of times where I go to do a picture and they take the drink out of their hand. I was like, why is that? He said, well, because we don't want a rehab picture in 6 months' time. And you're like going, but this is them at their most relaxed. They're just having fun. You go in, you take a moment, and then you move on. But you get done with it. Yeah. So this is Bono. The first time, I just loved the hat. This is back in 80s. This is when they did the Band-Aid Christmas single. And, he was just cool. I didn't know who they were, but I photographed the hat, and suddenly you look through and you go, oh, see, old Bono, And again, these are some of my heroes without being fan worshiping. I just and before they became your heroes. Yeah, absolutely. Before they became anyone's heroes, really. Yeah. Oh, there's a legend gone way too soon. Amy Winehouse with absolutely. Mick. This was at a festival, and you just think sad, too much too soon, and oh God. But you could tell the way she behaved that she was going to not be here long. Yeah, well, you never want to believe those things, but hopefully for the younger generation, it's like they got to look and go, look, bad things happen to people that do bad things, and it's just sad,
I got the same
So
feeling
cool.
about Cobain that I got about her. That they were just too wild, too crazy, too like wild and loose.
This is
Wow.
Tina Turner doing the James Bond video, and this is one of the things where I went to the props department where they at Pinewood Studios, and I actually got that gun. That gun was actually used in the real James Bond film. So again, you're turning up and you're making a bit of an effort. Spend a bit of money to actually make the picture work. So
Yeah,
I was really pleased with that.
a legend. Oh wait, that's one of my shots. Oh, we're at the end. We're at the end of the photo show there. But Dave, I'm really impressed. I really love the new look.
Thank you.
And what's the Instagram on there if people want to look at that?
I have absolutely no idea.
I think it's Postman, right?
Yeah, Postman. Perhaps we could put the link onto it so they can look onto it, and then if they hashtag come into me at at Hoagie _. I'd love to get a few more followers. I really and ask me questions and I'll give you answers. It's not like I'm taking pictures at the moment.
No, nobody is. But here, I just got the link here for the Postman. Let me put it up here, and you can see Hoagie's new work. And
they've got some other great, cool work. But really, it'd be great. It'd be great to get a few more followers, and we're looking at various options to do these things, and I'm loving it. Do you know what? You're never too old to change tack and do something else. I'm still going to go out taking pictures, but it's quite nice working on something new.
Well, you think you're going to go out and take pictures, but we don't know. And by the time it's done, who knows what our new
states I'll be in
going to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's everybody's creating new ways to exist, and this is Dave's Instagram there. So you got Dave's Instagram right there. Make sure you follow Dave Hogan, and this is the
really grateful.
Art. Let's turn it on. And, I'm the guy who I actually hired to get me followers because, it's hard to get followers, especially as middle-aged men. Nobody gives a shit. We don't have large breasts, or maybe we do, but they're hairy and nobody cares.
Oh, it's so funny.
But it's absolutely true when you think about it. It's like when I go on Instagram, it's nothing but girls. It's like a boob fiesta, and I can't compete. I have one boob. It's right here. You
look gorgeous though.
Thanks, Dave. Well, Hoagie, I miss you. I mean, what do you think? What do you think the future holds? When do you think you're going to be back shooting a concert again?
The moment I can get into an arena, I've got something to shoot actually on the 6th of December. I'm looking forward to it. Everything else that I had, like I was going to do the Children in Need, which is a big, BBC, the big TV company, just said, do you know what? We're not doing it. And when I watched it, it was a bit like the MTV thing. I'm so glad I wasn't there because I would have been disappointed because, everybody's trying so hard, but the atmosphere of going to a great festival or a great TV show, we're the luckiest people in the world. And, when it comes back, I'll be there. But at the moment, I'm going to walk the dog a lot more. And, my kids go, who are you? I'm there with them and chat with them. And
it's the same for me and our buddy Kevin Mazer. As much as he tries to be everywhere, he goes somewhere for a couple of days and then he's out. And it's just like when we go, it's a different atmosphere. It's a totally different thing. It's not like it was.
Absolutely. Yeah. I went into central London last week to shoot something, and I did a panoramic shot around Trafalgar Square. There was 3 people in the picture, and that was at midday. It is just, I'm not sure what it's like, in America, but it's deserted. Everything's deserted. The industry, the world in, UK has just sort of come to a standstill. It will come back, but, not for a while. I mean, it's great.
Well, I was reading about the UK has 3 vaccines. America has 3 vaccines coming up. Everybody has their own vaccines, and you've got to cross our fingers and hope they work. Yeah. I just hope that the vaccines are safe. We're in the upside down. It's been absolutely crazy. It's hard not to travel, and it's hard being home as much as we are. Yesterday I was hanging lights in the garden. I'm out there with a hammer and a nail, and my family was like, "Who is this guy? Why is he fixing things? Take the hammer away from him."
Well, do you know what? It's the most important thing is it's reevaluating what's important in our lives at the moment, and friends and family. It's so important. I've reassessed what I want to do and what I'm doing out of it. I will always take pictures, but it's for 8 months to actually not have gone out and done what we did every night. Some nights for, it's really refreshing. But
Yeah, well, for refreshing, and also I mean, I'm sure they come back as soon as you pick it up, but we had a certain amount of game that we acquired over the years that was built on momentum, and all of a sudden, all of these things and relationships and things that we've been doing all these years just goes off a cliff and stop. And we pretty much have to start back from ground zero when we come back and trying to get access to these events and who's going to be allowed in and how many photographers are going to be in. It's going to be all the companies are going to try to lock it down to make sure that they have the access. And I really think that the thirst for this kind of entertainment, you see it dwindling because nobody's turning into these award shows. People weren't tuning into the award shows before.
Yeah. Well, I think you're absolutely right. And the one thing that the people have got to remember is, the spontaneous moments that we do, they're the ones that people use. People do not want branded boards in every single picture. As much as the sponsors need it, they need both. And if you only have branded boards, it's very sanitized, it's very static. It's the moments that make the cooler. The water cooler moments where people talk about, oh, did you see that? Did you see the picture of so-and-so? And that's what we've done. And we've done it for an awful long time. And hopefully we get back to do it, in not too distant future.
Yeah, from your mouth to God's ears. Well, Dave, thanks for being my first UK visitor. I know it was touch and go there for a minute, but we made it happen.
I'm very sorry about that technology. Normally I have some assistant that would help me out on this.
Yeah, well, that's why I say call me, check it out early. And we should have done it 20 minutes early so we could have had it. But you know what? It worked. You were here on time and we got through the show and you didn't have any glitches. So thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you. I don't know when that's going to be, but stay healthy. Take care of yourself. Say hi to your family.
Okay, and you have a great time and have a great holiday, whatever level it is on this Thursday. So, have a good time. Thanks,
Hoagie.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye.
All right, talk to you later. Oh, and happy 60th also. I know you just had your 60th birthday.
Thank you. I don't look it. I look 70. You take care.
Thanks, Dave. See you later. Dave Hogan, my good friend, a compatriot. It's amazing to have relationships that span the globe and being able to touch base. And, usually we're seeing our friends all over the world traveling. I would have had at least 2 trips to Europe this year. And I don't even want to go to Venice. It's so crazy. There are a couple questions here I'll address. Kelly Baines Ashcroft asking me if Dave's seen Fish. Dave's an Englishman. Fish is an American thing. They didn't really play that market. Fish wasn't over there touring the UK, but if they would have played, I'm sure he would have. I don't know. I think he went to the Royal Albert Hall show or whatever the show was that they played. But Fish is a cult thing. Come on, Bowie, Stones. You see what the pictures we're looking at? It doesn't really kind of line up. It's Fish is our thing, and it's great that it is. But those pictures aren't worth a dime out there in the big market, unfortunately, because people care about the big names and what's going on out there. But as you know, we love the Fish. Trey did a great job on Friday night. Harry Hood with the strings. Hit me right here. That's what it's all about. Even the Life Boy was beautiful. It's getting frustrating out there, folks. We got the holiday coming up right around now. We got the holiday coming. I have some sponsors to talk to you about. Grady's Cold Brew first. Here's my bag of Grady's. Get your cold brew kit. If you use the Grady's Cold Brew.com/420 live, I will learn to talk. You will get 20% off on your order. It is a chicory coffee, New Orleans style chicory. Does not need any sweetener. Cold brew kit makes 36 cups. See, it says right there, 36 cups. And you make a concentrate. You put it in your fridge. The bag's there. Kiki was drinking this yesterday. She was like, wow, this stuff is so good that I forgot how good it was. She drank it all through college. Get your Grady's Cold Brew kit. Use the code. Get your discount. This will be delicious for the holidays. Keep you up. Keep you awake. Keep you going. And Sinlawn, we have another, 2 weeks left on the contest to get your synthetic lawn needs all handled. Now, you might be saying, who has synthetic lawn needs? Well, let me tell you, you get a 5 foot by 7 foot roll of this, and you'll have a synthetic lawn anywhere you want to put it, on your patio, in your bedroom, on your bed. You can roll around in the grass. You can reenact what it's like to be outside before the COVID. They're having their contest for another week. Sinlawn.com. Use the 420 live code, and I will enter you into a contest to win an 11 by 14. Even if you don't win the grass, I'll still enter you into the contest to win a print. So someone will get a nice print of their choice. Like Dave says, 500,000 pictures. Yes, we both have at least 500,000 searchable images up there on Getty, on, all different celebrities. Sinlawn.com/420live is your code right there. Get on your synthetic lawn, environmentally friendly. Get your needs handled. It all lines up. It lines up. Tomorrow, we are going to New York City to hang out with our friends at the Happy Monkey. The Happy Monkey is a cannabis-friendly business based in Manhattan. It's a private club where you can go get your smoke on. I'm not sure what their COVID problems are. I'm sure there's nothing going on. I think they're all online. So we're going to talk to our friends from the Happy Monkey. I think I'm getting some Happy Monkey gear, and we're going to have a little smoke tomorrow. Tomorrow's I have strain day in the schedule, and I've made a lot of friends over the past couple of weeks up in the Humboldt, Mendocino area. A lot of growers, legendary growers, and not just your new growers, but people that have been growing cannabis for 2, 3, 4 generations of cannabis growers, and growing these special strains, these unicorns, one of a kind. We're going to talk to these guys. We're going to blow up the cannabis programming tomorrow with Happy Monkey. Is one of our forays into that. On Wednesday, we have our turducken special. If you don't know what a turducken is, it's a turkey stuffed with chicken, stuffed with a duck, and with boudin sausage all around it. The rice. You've never had boudin sausage? There's rice and the pork all together. And all the stuff I'm not eating anymore. So we're having a turducken special with Johnny Ray, Soul Sam, and Al Boudin are going to be on the show. We're going to do a little Cajun flavored Thanksgiving celebration for you. I will be off on Thursday and Friday, as all of America is, taking a couple days off, and we'll be back next week with a full run of shows for you. I think I'm spitting and splattering all over the place. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you coming in, letting us distract you for the afternoon. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to be here. We're going to be hitting show 200 right around Christmas. So we are just building it up. Today's show 181, if you're keeping count there at home. I appreciate you all tuning in. Peace, love, and happiness to everybody out there. There's your big hug. If you noticed, Team Stark around here. That's the way it is. I'm not a Lannister, even though my son looks like one. Thanks to my friend Dave Hogan, and thanks to Mazer for reaching out. And Hoagie, Kravitz is trying to get a hold of you. It all works out. Here's our flavor for the day. Sending you off with some delicious flavor. Everybody have a great day. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Thanks.